This conference will now be recorded.
I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, please. It's 1 o'clock by my clock. Okay. That put everybody to quiet. I love seeing this bigger group. Pledge allegiance, please. All those that can stand, please do. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Board President Marie Beshen.
Here.
Vice President Roberta Ernest.
Here.
Board Secretary Marilyn Sorensen.
Here.
Treasurer Becca Paulson.
Here.
Directors Steve Deal. Jennifer Ellswick.
Here.
Cindy Evans. Is she here online?
Absent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, homeowner statement period. In person, speaker may speak for no more than 2 minutes. If attending virtually, please mute your audio. Please use the chat options for your questions. Comments should be addressed to concerns of the motion before the board takes formal action on an item under formal discussion on the table. Negative comments directed at residents, employees of the association, or board of directors will not be allowed.
May I have the approval of the following meeting minutes?
I move that we accept the meeting minutes from the September 12th Board of Directors meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Dave, we've got a microphone that's not working up here.
Motion carried. Financial report?
I move to accept the August 31st, 2024 financials.
Any questions or comments from the board? All those in favor? Motion carried. Do we have a report from Dawn?
As of October 31st, our cash in the operating was $914,855. In reserves, $4,296,902. Activities, $165,113. Clubs, $155,775. And the asset improvement, $1,184,031.
I wanted just to add to her report for just a moment. I wanted to let everybody know we haven't had a report on the interest income lately, so I thought I would update everyone. As of the end of last year, the end of April, we earned $153,598 in interest. In prior years, we had very, very little interest. This year, through May through August, we have already earned $70,162.
Thank you. Okay. Committee reports, we do not have any. Activity, let's go to the next one, sorry. Okay. Next on the agenda is the motion for the purchase of new bingo machine.
I move to approve purchase of new bingo machine to be paid out of reserves.
Second.
Comments and questions on the board, from the board?
I was just going to ask that, is how much is the bingo machine, and was Thelma going to come up and give us some information on it?
The cost of the new bingo machine is $17,709.71.
Want to tell us a little bit why we are doing this at this time, please, Thelma?
Sure. This past season, we had to replace a part on our bingo machine. And at that time, our distributor told us that the machine that we have, some of the parts have gone out and they're not going to replace them. So if any time during this season that our machine goes down, it could be 4 to 6 weeks or, whatever before we get a new one. So that's the reason that we went ahead and put in the request early. I can tell you what our attendance has been. Now from November through April, we had 4,700 attendees on bingo night. Okay? Anything else?
Any other questions or comments?
I have a couple of comments. What would you do if that machine went down, the machine that you currently have, as an interim solution?
We wouldn't have one.
You couldn't do it manually?
No. Because of our ball situation, because the balls, they go into the machine, they light up back there. And then we also have our balls light up on here, that screen. So we wouldn't have any alternative.
Okay. I have to say that I am a little concerned with this to come, right before season starts as a new purchase. We have spent all our reserve money this year, or I won't say the cash has necessarily gone out, but it has been totally earmarked for the money that we have in reserve for this year, as far as the money that has come in. I can't in good conscience, regardless, say at this point we can spend another $17,000. At some point, everyone has to go through the appropriate process to buy something new or have something repaired. And if you put it in now, then maybe possibly next year we can fund it, but I just don't see us funding it this year.
Becca, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that Dawn said we really have 4 million in assets in the reserve, but we are only 39% funded in the reserve. So I just don't want people to think that when we say we're going to take it out of the reserve, we may actually have the money. We would be pulling and making it even tighter in the reserve.
That is correct. Our reserve at this point is calculated to be at a very low fair, rather than good, amount of money for the amount of assets that we have. We need to start building our reserve back up. It was taken down when fees were not going up, and we've had roads and roofs for a very long time. And some years those cost more than the money we brought in. So we need to begin a new process whereby 1 year people request what their needs are. This is not necessarily buildings and things, but we've asked the clubs to do this. Request 1 year for funding of the next new year. So for instance, clubs need to have the requests in January so that it can be funded with our new fiscal year in July. And then it goes through the BGM committee. They make a list. We know we have X amount of dollars to spend, and we prioritize those lists mainly through that committee. That doesn't include the clubs, but it works all the same. And then they're funded the next year. We have to leave what little reserve we have for dire emergencies. What if this building, the air conditioners went down? Obviously, we have to do that. If there's some big, huge storm and there needs to be repairs, we have to have money to do those things. So we cannot just willy-nilly fund reserve items without going through a process.
We're not done yet, you gotta let the board talk first, and then she'll give it right over to you guys.
Why can't we take it out of activities?
Yeah, that was my next question. What kind of budget was it?
Activities budget, Thelma?
we didn't budget for it for this year, but there is extra money, so we could look to find it somewhere.
They do have activities does have a fund balance. So if they might choose to do that. I can tell you the activities budget is very tight this year.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Becca, I think this might be for you. Is there any way that activities could find the money and then put in to be reimbursed from the reserve?
I think probably you could do that. It would come from their funds. They do have some, like I said, they do have some excess funds from many prior years. They could use that, but still go through the process with BGM and put in a request. And then if it's funded, you would be reimbursed for that. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. We're open to questions and comments from the residents. Please come to the podium.
So the question I have on the bingo machine, have we looked at alternatives versus this $17,000 price tag? Recently, we were at an Elks Club this summer up in Prescott, and we saw a device which was software driven. And I was Googling just before I stepped up here, and I saw that the prices for those are very cheap. So I'm just wondering whether or not we're going with another mechanical issue that can break down or a software issue. So that's just a question.
Yeah. In the future, we need name and lot number. And I believe Thelma.
Fred Terranova, lot 1140.
Thank you very much. Thelma, you want to stay up here and answer some of these questions since you did the research on this machine? I believe it is software driven, but since I kind of looked at it myself.
The machine we currently have is not up to, like, we can't plug in something and say what's wrong with the machine. It's all mechanical in there. So it's a different machine, and we can't, it's not, a thumb drive. You can't just poke a thumb drive in what we have right now.
But the one that you were ordering.
The one that we order will be completely electronic, and they can go in and see in a matter of seconds what's wrong with it.
But is it software? That's the question. Is it software driven?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Joyce Freeman, lot 2358. Do you play bingo?
Do I play bingo?
Yes.
Not here.
Well, how many of these people play bingo? This is like a religion out here. To take that away from us for 4 to 6 weeks is unacceptable. Now, we look forward to bingo when they already have to get their license and it's all set. It is totally wrong. Do not take that away from us. Please, please let us have our bingo. It's like a religion here. And then we have the outsiders that bring in money for us, and they already have the license set. So to do this is totally wrong. Please think it over and approve it.
Glenn Brower, lot number 539. The bingo organization, do they produce any revenue at all?
Yes, it does. This past year, it was about $50,000. Most of that's given back to our residents in prizes. They keep so much of that money to restock and keep that going. I think they probably keep maybe, I don't know if they do 10% or 15%, but they keep that. And then they also donate back to Happy Trails 10% of what they've taken in.
Thank you for that. That's great information. The only thing that I agree with some of the arguments here and the pros and cons, it should not come out of the reserve fund at this time. And we should look at other avenues to generate the cost of repurchase. Thank you.
Thelma, I have one more question. Thelma, I have one more question. Is it possible, even from the bingo company themselves, to lease equipment if something goes down?
I can't answer that. I don't know the answer to that one. What I do know is I reached out to other companies that were not within the area here, and they referred me back to the same company that's here that we deal with in Phoenix, because they said that the distributor here would be able to come out and teach us how to use the machine, those kinds of things, which they can't do if you're out of state.
Hi, Bob Fall, 496. What I was going to ask, basically a similar question to the, there's two sides to every financial situation. One's the income and one's the expenses. So the expense, we're talking about this, replacing this machine. The income side, what I heard Thelma say, was $50,000 gross and $5,000 back to activities, roughly, if that's a good number. So when you figure that out, and how many nights do you have bingo all year? You know, there's some nights you don't have it and some Friday nights, and I don't know what that number is. But you have to take that 5,000 and say, whatever nights you're going to lose because you're waiting on a new machine for a month, for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever you're waiting, that is income lost from activities. So the $17,000 cost is not a total cost in the case of a loss. So that's all I wanted to point out, is you got two sides of that coin. And if you didn't have bingo, you would save me money. So I'm not doing this because it's a...
Okay. One thing I do want to point out is that we're not saying we're not going to do a machine. What we're trying to look at is the cost of that particular machine. And, you know, not having gone through BGM and looking at the various types of machine, I went on the website itself and looked. There are a lot of different machines out there, and being that there are a lot of machines out there, the cost went from what that gentleman said, a low dollar value, all the way up to $100,000. You know, it's kind of like a car. You can get a car for, you know, $70,000. You can get a car for $1 million. We're not saying no bingo. Trust me, we are not saying no bingo. You would string us up. There is no way we're not saying no bingo. What I'd like to do is let's table this and do a little bit more research, please, so that we can get you the best for the best price. So can I have a motion to table this?
I move that we table the motion to purchase the bingo machine at this time.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We will attend to this quickly. I have my promise. Okay. Next on the agenda is the bocce ball. I move that I'm going to separate this out because there are 3 items on this one motion, and I want to separate this out. So I'm going to move that we install 2 memorial benches in the name of Dominic Rocchio, and I'm probably mispronouncing his last name.
Second.
Okay, let me explain. We received a letter from Richard Koopman requesting benches, and let me read it to you. Dominic made a huge contribution to not only theater but also to Happy Trails. To preserve his memory forever, Sonia and I came up with an idea and have taken steps to attempt to get it implemented. For your information, Dom was instrumental in getting grass area at the town center designated to a bocce ball area. We have requested that Happy Trails rename the bocce ball area the Dominic Rocchio Bocce Ball Area. We have also requested that we replace the existing sign to reflect this name change. Additionally, we have requested permission to install 2 benches in memory of Dom with the plaques on each honoring him for the use of spectators. We have also requested permission to have 2 sets of bocce balls available for use at activities. We would appreciate help in paying for this. The total cost will be approximately $2,500. If you are inclined to contribute, please make your checks payable to Richard J. Koopsman. You can bring your checks to our house or mail your checks to, and he has the name and address and the lot number. If you wish to pay cash, please bring it to the house. This is a letter that went out to all of theater and brought to Darlene in the office. For those of you that do not know Dominic, he's been in theater for decades and has been very active in Happy Trails. I also would like to state a couple of things. Right this moment, we can always use a couple more benches and with names on the plaque, and they match all the other benches, and that's always nice. I also would like to share with you that we get this request quite frequently in the office and to the board. At some point, we're going to have probably more benches than we know what to do with. So I also want to put this out there to all the residents that as time goes by, I'd like all of you to think about maybe scooping together a little bit more money and think about the tables and chairs that you see out here at the town center and maybe doing that instead of a bench. Because we certainly can use more of those. So just kind of tuck that in the back of your head that as you think about benches, let's think about those tables and chairs with the umbrellas instead. So I'm just going to plant that seed. So that's my motion, and it's on the table. Do we have any comments or questions from the board?
So the memorial benches are they being funded? I'm assuming they're being funded by the group. Yeah, no worries. I think it's a good idea. I'd like your table and chairs thing with a name plaque on it. Would be
Yes. Yes, they're being totally funded by the theater and by any other contributions by the residents. Any other questions or comments by the board? Any questions or comments from the floor? And I don't know if anybody else is here from theater that would like to make any comments.
Marie, are we just voting on the benches right now?
Pardon?
Thank you.
Just the 2 benches are on the floor right now. Thelma?
Hi, I'm Thelma, Activities Coordinator. We do have 2 professional bocce ball sets in activities to be loaned out.
Okay, I will take the vote now. All those in favor of the 2 benches with Dominic's name on them? Wait. Well, hurry up.
Donna 379. My question is, where in the bocce ball area are you going to put these benches?
Oh, good question. Thank you for bringing that up because it was brought up in a chat that we do have hawks that are in the tree. They're what do I want to call nesting hawks, and they would have to be. I would leave it up to our maintenance or landscaper people to put those benches away from the nesting hawks. So they'd have to be off to the side someplace. And I'm going to leave that up to the landscaper / maintenance / whoever is aware of those nesting hawks because we don't want them right underneath those trees. So in an area that they could watch bocce ball and in an area that they would not disturb the nesting hawks.
Okay, because I would hate to see the hawks attack us, so just saying.
I've actually had the privilege of seeing Mama Hawk. Yeah. Okay, back to the vote. All those in favor of the 2 benches say aye. Motion carried. Okay. The second on the motion is two more sets of bocce ball equipment. And I will put the suggestion to Coops that they put the name of Dominic on the sets, because I would assume that they come in a bag or a box or something like that. Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the residents?
Bernie,
And again, they're paid for by the theater.
someone said we have two that are in activities to be checked out. Are they used on a regular basis that we're short, or do we need more?
I don't, but I can certainly let Coops know that we already have two sets, and they can make the decision on whether they want to pay for them or not. Yes.
Sharon O'Leary, 602. Yes, I was curious as to whether you're adding two more sets of bocce sets. Because there's already two there.
Right.
And what you're wanting to do is put his name on the sets?
No, Coops is wanting to purchase two. So what we can do is we can move that he is allowed to do it if they so choose. You know, it's a letter requesting them allowing to do it.
Okay, I just
They don't have to.
One comment, because I'm really
They don't
mean.
have to.
But setting a precedent of anybody who dies gets a bench or a chair or umbrella. I mean, it just sounds like we're moving into an area that is going to really.
Sharon, that's already happened. I mean,
I know, I'm saying, so the benches that do have names on them, for instance, at the tennis court, there's one there that has a name on it. So was that done years ago, and the individual paid for the name on the bench? So did they have to make a bench to put the name on it, or was a bench already available?
they pay for the bench and they pay for the name. The individual pays for the bench and pays for the name
So
on it.
anybody that wants to name a seat of some sort or something comes to the board and requests that they are going to pay for everything. They just need your permission to put a name on it. Okay.
Hi.
They're lined
On
up
the
at the
bocce ball
microphone.
sets,
What are they? What's the issue?
we don't have too many people check them out. I purchased them a couple years ago because someone said, hey, we need, new bocce ball sets. So I did purchase them, but there's not a lot of people that check them out. So I just wanted to put that into.
The motion is to allow him to do it. I will suggest to Coops that it's a waste of money. I mean, that's the best I can do. I hate to vote it down to say you're not allowed to do it.
Perhaps he doesn't know that we have two already.
They're talking about doing some work on the bocce ball court up there. But
Okay. Why don't we table it? Yes, I intend to talk to Greg. Why don't we table?
I move that we table the motion for buying the bocce ball sets until a later time. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor of tabling the bocce ball equipment? Motion carried. Okay. The last motion is to name the bocce ball area for Dominic. I move that we name the bocce ball area for Dominic Rocchio.
Second.
Okay. I'm against this because it sets a precedent. We cannot start naming any area for a person. If we did that, we would have the pickleball courts named for Sid. We would have the dog park named for Greg or Fred. We would have the one of the pools named for Izzy. I mean, it would go on ad infinitum. And in 10 years or 20 years, people would walk around and go, who is that? We're not Mount Rushmore. We just can't start that precedent. Everybody loves somebody. And there are lots and lots of somebodies who contribute, thank goodness, that contribute to this resort. And I really reiterate, thank goodness that we have wonderful, wonderful people here who contribute time and energy and love here over years and over decades. And I think it would be a mistake to start that precedent. Any other comments or questions from the board? Any other comments or questions from the residents? I think I heard you. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those against, nay. Motion denied.
Becca, did you say aye or nay? Because you raised.
Okay. The next on the agenda is the motion to disband the election committee. Do I have a motion?
I move that the election committee be disbanded at this time.
I second.
Jennifer, you want to speak to this?
First of all, I would like the election committee to be thanked for all of the years that they worked and handled the election in Happy Trails. They certainly have done an outstanding job. But I believe that all good things, including the election committee, must come to an end. The board has decided several months ago to go with electronic voting. The electronic voting vendors will only work with management. They will not work with any voting member in the community. That means they won't work with the board, they won't work with the election committee. In addition, management has always been involved and always handled a big piece of the actual election. Our management team handles every other owner vote at Happy Trails. So it only makes sense that our management team would handle the vote for directors.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the residents? Donna?
Donna 379. My question is, there are a lot of residents, I'm playing devil's advocate right now, just so you know. There are a lot of residents that don't have computers, don't know how to use computers, and don't know how to vote on a computer. If I understand right, there will be computers set up at the office and somebody will help them with that, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so they'll be taken care of.
The communications committee will be doing tutorials on it before we get to that point here in the pack.
Okay, that's all I'm asking because I know there are a lot of them that, a lot of people just don't. I have a computer and I'm still not computer literate, so, but I get it. And I just want to make sure that everybody has the right to place their vote.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Whoops. No, you're good? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? Motion carried. Okay, here comes the fun part. Are you all comfortable? This is going to take a little while. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I apologize. We need to table, we needed to, the golf cart thing is, I will table it because I will move to table it because we didn't get enough information on the golf carts. We needed more information, and I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Darlene had asked me to please table it, and I just skipped over it because I didn't, we thought it was off the agenda to next time because we needed more. The golf cart company didn't get back to us with their pricing and their information. So I do apologize to you residents on that. Okay. CC&Rs and bylaw changes. We have a bunch. We have been very busy. I hope you like my voice because you're going to hear it for a long time. Okay. All right. Everybody can hear me well? I don't have a soft voice like my predecessor. We all loved her, but she had a soft voice. So if you can't hear me, be sure and shout out. Okay. Article 2, Section 2, meetings. We'll start off from. I'm going to try and make this brief and make this as painless as possible for you. So I'll do my best not to drag this out and read every single word, but as much, and it'll be posted. You do know that it will be posted. I know. You do know that it will be posted on Neighbor or on our website. I won't use the word Neighbor because we're trying to get over to Front Steps, but it'll be posted on the website. There will be a copy in activities. There will be a copy at Stephanie's desk. There will be a copy in the mail room. And okay, that's the 4 spots, right? Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. Article 2, Section 2, meetings. From. Meetings of owners shall be held at the principal place of business of the corporation or at such other convenient place as may be designated by the Board of Directors. Annual meetings of the owners shall be held on the 3rd Tuesday in February in each year beginning at 7 p.m. or at such other time as the board may select in its own discretion. That's what it currently says. We're changing it to meetings of owners shall be held at the principal place of business of the corporation or at such other convenient place as may be designated by the Board of Directors. Annual meetings of the owners shall be held on the 3rd Tuesday in April in each year beginning at 1 p.m. or at such other time as the board may select at its own discretion. This aligns with new fiscal year of July 1st. Next, Article 2, Section 3, Directors of Qualifications. We are adding this section. Each director shall be an owner of the spouse or of an owner, or if an owner is a corporation, partnership, or trust, a director may be an officer, partner, or beneficiary of such owner. Directors must be and remain in good standing with the association. If a director shall cease to meet such qualifications during his term, he will thereupon cease to be a director and his place on the board shall be deemed vacant. All directors shall complete, prior to commencing service on the board, such training requirements as the board may establish from time to time. Article 2, Section 4, Notice. From. Notice of all meetings of the owners stating the time, the place, and the objects for which the meeting is called shall be given by the President, Vice President, or Secretary unless notice is waived in writing. Such notice must be in writing and addressed to each owner entitled to vote at such meeting at his address as it happens, to each owner entitled to vote at such meeting at his address as it appears on the books of the corporation, or if no such address appears, at his last known address, and shall be mailed not less than 10 days no more than 50 days prior to the date of the meeting. Notice of the meetings may be waived before, during, or after the meeting. 2, we're changing it to notice of all meetings of the owners stating at the time, the place, and the object for which the meeting is called shall be given by the president, vice president, or secretary unless notice is waived in writing. Such notice must be in writing and or email an address to each owner entitled to vote at such meeting at his address, or email as it appears on the books of the corporation, or if no such address appears, at the last known address, and shall be mailed and or emailed 10 days no more than 50 days prior to the date of the meeting. Notice of meetings may be waived before, during, or after the meeting. This complies with the Arizona 33-1804 and provides for updating to include electronic and email distribution. So what changed there was just mailed to emailed as well. Article 3, Section 2, qualifications of candidates seeking election to the board. We added this entire section. In order to be eligible for election to the board, candidates must be members of the association, and each candidate must have been a member of the association for at least 1 year before being eligible to run for election. In addition, each candidate must be in good standing with the association, which means the candidate cannot have any open violations of the association's governing documents on his or her account and must not be delinquent in any amount due to the association. Each candidate must have previously participated in an association club or committee and or have previously volunteered in or at the association in order to run for election. However, in the event a candidate has not previously participated in a club or committee or previously volunteered, then the candidate must have previous homeowners association board experience or have worked in the homeowners association industry. Each candidate must read and familiarize himself or herself with the governing documents and applicable Arizona law and understand the relationship between the board and association management. Candidate must be willing to donate approximately 10 to 20 hours each week to the board and association related matters and be team players willing to do what is best for the members of the association. Note, provides requirement for board candidates. Article 3, Section 3, Director Qualifications. We are adding, directors must be and remain in good standing with the association. All directors shall complete, prior to commencing service on the board, such training requirements as the board may establish from time to time. This provides requirements for board directors. Covenants, conditions, and restriction changes. Overall changes throughout the document, from resident vehicle to manufactured HUD and recreation vehicle. Under table of contents, we added affidavit of a fixture. We added manufactured home. We removed resident vehicle. We removed clothes drying area. In the entire document, all grammar corrections, renumbering, and paragraph regarding the recording of the document. Under definitions, we added, like I said, the affidavit of a fixture shall have the meaning set forth under ARS 42-15203, and we added manufactured home. The changes from 1.30 resident vehicle to 1.19 manufactured HUD. from meaning those vehicles/resident, including but not limited to recreational vehicles, double wide, snuggle wides, park models, and mobile homes that are, it means all manufactured HUD homes such as villas, snuggle wides, single and double wide homes. These homes may have affidavit of a fixture. This redefines recreational vehicle and manufactured HUD homes. We removed resident vehicles and we added recreational vehicles. 1.31, recreational vehicles from means of a vehicular type unit primarily designated as temporary living quarters for recreation, camping, or travel use, which is not designated for permanent resident or commercial purposes and is more fully defined in the rules and regulations of association. 2, we changed it to, means a recreational vehicle, RV, that is either towed behind or motorized that includes living quarters designed for accommodation and contains a vehicle identification number, VIN, can be used for recreation, camping, or travel use. Types of RVs include motorhomes, camper vans, fifth wheels, travel trailers, park models, etc. This more clearly defines recreational vehicle, RV. Did I turn that? Yes. Section 3, associations. 3.16, funds of the association. From funds of the association from any source other than small amounts for petty cash or similar purposes shall be kept on deposit in federally assured financial institutions in fully insured accounts. We changed it to funds of the association from any source other than small amounts for petty cash or similar purposes shall be kept on deposit in federally insured financial institutions and fully insured accounts with the option of no more than 25% of excess funds to be invested in other investment vehicles. Note, this allows flexibility of investments to increase revenues when federally insured financial vehicles are incapable of giving a return. I beg your pardon? Yeah. Versus a money market or CD is what we wanted to note on that. I don't think we decided not to do this, right? Yeah, it's self-explanatory. Okay. 5.2, purpose of assessments. From the assessment levied by the association shall be used to promote the recreation, health, safety, and welfare of the owners, to enhance the quality of life within the property, to preserve the value of the property, to pay the costs of administration of the association and all common expenses, to cover the costs of mailing, sorting, pickup, and delivery service, to lot owners and occupants, or otherwise further the interests of the association, where a lot has separate gas, electrical, sewer, or other similar utility services. The cost of the same shall be the personal obligation of each owner and shall not be included in the regular assessments. Instead, costs incurred by the association providing storm, water, and sewer services to a lot shall be levied as pass-through assessment pursuant to Section 5.5 below. Maintenance of sewer lines serving a single lot shall be the responsibility of the owner owning such a lot. What we did is we removed, to cover the costs of mailing, sorting, pickup, and delivery service to lot owners and occupants, and instead costs incurred by the association in providing stormwater and sewer service to a lot shall be levied as pass-through assessments pursuant to Section 5.5 below. It cleans up that statement. 5.3.3 regular assessments. This is a long one, but it's a very important one. from, if the association determines that the total regular this is very legalese, so hang in there with me. If the association determines that the total regular assessments for the current year are or will become inadequate to meet all common expenses for whatever reason, including common expenses in excess of the estimated common expenses used in preparation of the association's budget for that year, the president shall then immediately determine the approximate amount of such inadequacy and the consent of the board, issue a supplemental estimate of the common expenses, and determine the revised amount of the regular assessment to be paid by each owner for the balance of the year and the date or dates when due. If the estimated total regular assessments for the current year proves to be excessive in light of the actual common expenses, the association may, at the discretion of the board, retain such excess as additional working capital or reserves, reduce the amount of the regular assessments for the succeeding year, or abate collection of regular assessments for such period as it deems appropriate. No reduction or abatement of regular assessments because of any such anticipated surplus may diminish the quality of services upon which the common expenses for the year in question are based. Notwithstanding anything foregoing to the contrary, in no event shall the regular assessment for any budget year increase from the preceding year by more than the greater of 6%, or the increase in the Metropolitan Phoenix Consumer Price Index, all items computed by the Bureau of Business and Economic Research, College of Business Administration, Arizona State University, without the affirmative vote of the majority of the owners in the association. That's the important part. The percent limitations established by the section 5.3.3 shall not apply to or include the special assessment set forth in section 5.4 below, or the pass-through assessment in section 5.5 below. If the Bureau of Business and Economic Research should cease computing a Metropolitan Phoenix Consumer Price Index, all items, the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, CPI-U, computed by the United States Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, shall be utilized in its place for the purpose of this section. Okay. 2, we changed it. Do you want me to read that whole thing again? Okay. If the association determines that the total regular assessments for the current year are or will become inadequate to meet all the common expenses for whatever reason, including common expenses in excess of the estimated common expenses used in preparation of the association's budget for that year, the president shall then immediately determine the approximate amount of such inadequacy and, with the consent of the board, issue a supplemental estimate of the common expenses and determine the revised amount of regular assessment to be paid by each owner for the balance of the year and the date or dates when due. If the estimated total regular assessment for the current year proves to be excessive in light of the actual common expenses, the association may, at the discretion of the board, retain such excess as additional working capital for reserves, reduce the amount of the regular assessment for the succeeding year, or abate collection of regular assessments for such period as it deems appropriate. No reduction or abatement of regular assessments because of any such anticipated surplus may diminish the quality of services upon such the common expenses for that year in question are based. Here we go. In accordance with Arizona State Statute 33-1803, the association shall not impose a regular assessment for the budget year increase that is more than 20% greater than the immediately preceding fiscal year regular assessment without the approval of the majority of the members of the association. The percent limitation established by the section 5.3.3 shall not apply to or include the special assessments set forth in section 5.4 below or the pass-through assessment in the section 5.5 below. This aligns with state statute 33-1803. So all of that is really to say that we changed it from 6% to 20% to align with the state statute versus the business.
And that because the state has a 20% maximum doesn't
Correct.
mean that we have to.
No, it does not.
I'm not comfortable with that 20% number. I think that needs to be much lower than it currently is. I understand the state would allow up to 20%, but I wouldn't want to be on a board that imposed a 20% increase before I had my vehicle started and headed out the door.
It's based, yep. Well, and just so all of you know, these will be voted individually. This is not an all or nothing. Each of these will be voted on individually. So, yes, let's get through these. So, next one. Please, we need to keep going. You are the association. You are the association. You will be voting on these. Yep, every single one of us. 5.5 pass-through assessments. From pass-through assessments shall be levied by the association against an owner and his lot to reimburse the association for costs incurred by the association. Pass-through assessments include costs incurred by the association improving storm, water, and sewer services to the owner's lot and may include other such charges that meet the criteria as stated in section 1.4.5 pass-through assessments. Change 2. Pass-through assessments include costs incurred by the association in providing services to the owner's lot and may include other such charges that the board, in its discretion, determines should be categorized as pass-through assessments, including but not limited to costs that meet the criteria set forth in section 1.45.5 pass-through assessments. This redefines pass-through assessments. Okay. Section 9, maintenance, repairs, and replacements. Owner's 9.1, owner's responsibility note may not need to be in here. Grammar. Yeah, it's strictly residence vehicle, roadworthy, like new condition. Okay. We changed it to recreational. 10.1, appointment of design review committee. We changed it from 5 persons. The association shall have a design review committee consisting of not less than 3 nor more than 5 persons as specified from time to time in the design guidelines by resolution of the board. Members of the design review committee shall be appointed by the board. Persons appointed to the design review committee must be owners or satisfy such other requirements as may be set forth in the design review committee. 2, the association shall have a design review committee consisting of not less than 3 nor more than 7 persons as persons from time to time to design guidelines by resolution of the board. Members of the design review committee shall be appointed by the board. Persons appointed to the design review committee must be owners or satisfy such requirements as may be set forth in the design guidelines. The board of directors liaison will be the chairperson, chairman, and a voting member of the design review committee per Arizona state statute. This aligns number of committee members with all the other committees within the association, explains the requirement of the board liaison to be the chairperson with Arizona state statute. Section 11, use and occupancy restrictions. 11.3 occupancy. From no more than one resident vehicle may be placed at one time upon any lot, and no more than two individuals may occupy a lot at any one time, except for guests as allowed by the rules and regulations of the association and or otherwise approved by in writing by the board. Occupancy of a lot by any person other than an owner shall be subject in addition to any other provisions of this declaration to the provisions of section 11.24 and 11.26. 2, no more than one manufactured HUD or recreational vehicle may be placed at one time upon any lot, and no more than two individuals may occupy a lot at any one time except for guests as allowed by the rules and regulations of the association and or otherwise approved in writing by the board. Occupancy of a lot by any person other than an owner shall be subject in addition to any other provisions of the declaration to the provisions of 11.23 and 11.25. This change resident vehicle to manufacturer HUD and recreational vehicle. 11.9 vehicles. This is also a big change. From no boats or trailers shall be parked or stored on the property except in designated storage areas and temporary on private roads for ingress and egress, for loading and unloading as provided in association rules. No motor vehicles, including without limitation motorbikes and cycles, may be operated on the property by anyone other than properly licensed operators, and any such vehicle must satisfy all respects and requirements of governmental authorities for operation on public streets. Any golf cart may be operated by any owner, guest, or occupant on the property must be electric. That's the current. We changed it to no boats or trailers shall be parked on stored on property except in designated storage areas and temporary on private roads or egress and ingress for loading and unloading or provided in association rules. No motor vehicles, including without limitation motorbikes and cycles, may be operated on property by anyone other than a property license operator, and such vehicles must satisfy in all respects and requirements of government authorities or operation on public roads. Golf carts may only be operated by a licensed driver. Motor-driven bikes or cycles may only be operated by adults in accordance with all applicable laws and ordinance, and must be appropriately lighted if operated by night, which means it can be gas. We noted it now allows for gas-powered street legal golf carts and states the requirement for licensed drivers per state statute. We have listened to you wanting gas-powered golf carts. 11.10 parking. From no resident vehicles other than vehicle of any type shall be repaired or rebuilt, including oil changes or engine repairs on any lot or upon the common area, and no vehicle of any type shall be parked on the private streets or any portion of the common areas except in such parking areas as may be designated by the association. The association may remove or cause to be removed by any unauthorized vehicle at the expense of the owner thereof in any manner consistent with applicable law. Recreation vehicles and any other vehicle may be parked temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress, and for loading or unloading as provided by the association rules. One or more storage areas for recreational vehicles, boats, motors, vehicles may be available on or in the vicinity of the property by developer, declarant, and or association at reasonable cost of owners. No more than one recreational vehicle may be parked on a lot at a time. Changed it to no vehicle of any type shall be repaired or rebuilt, including all oil changes or engine repairs on any lot or upon the common areas, and no vehicle of any type shall be reparked on private streets or any portion of the common area except in any such parking area as may be designated by the association. The association may remove or cause to be removed any unauthorized vehicle at the expense of the owner, therefore in any manner consistent with applicable laws, recreation vehicles, etc. The rest is exactly the same. No better clarification. 11.13, trash containers and collections proper maintenance. We removed no garbage or trash shall be placed or kept on any lot except, I'm sorry, removing the board shall have the right in its sole discretion to require all owners to subscribe to, okay, I misspoke. We're keeping no garbage or trash shall be placed or kept on any lot except in below ground covered containers of a type, size, and style which are approved in writing by the board or authorized by the association. We removed the board shall have the right in its sole discretion to require all owners to subscribe to a trash service in the event the cost of such service may be billed to the association as a common expense or separately to lot owners as the board deemed most efficient or desirable. And then continue with each owner shall be responsible to remove of all rubbish, trash, or garbage from its lot. Okay, this keeps the uniformity of trash service company. 11.15 safe conditions from without limiting any other provisions in the section. Each owner shall maintain and keep his lot at all times in a safe, sound, and sanitary condition, and repair and shall correct any conditions or refrain from any activity which might interfere with the reasonable enjoyment by other owners of their respective lots or the common area. Generators may only be used in limited circumstances as provided in the association rules when electric current is not otherwise available to a lot. No firearms may ever be displayed on any portion of the property by other than authorized security personnel. We changed it to, without limiting any other provisions in this section, each owner shall maintain and keep his lot at all times to a safe, sound, and sanitary condition, and repair and shall correct any condition or refrain from any activity which might interfere with a reasonable enjoyment by other owners of their respective lots to or the common area. Generators may only be used in limited circumstances as provided in the association rules when electric current is not otherwise available to a lot. No firearms shall be openly displayed on common areas or association buildings by anyone other than authorized security personnel unless given an authorized waiver by the board of directors. This provides more specific requirements. The last thing on the list is 11.17, closed drying area was removed. This allows for closed lines in NC1. Okay. That is the reading of the CC&Rs. Questions?
Well, I do want to remind you that this is a meeting for owners.
I beg your pardon, Brett?
This is a meeting for owners, only owners.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, Lily Atkinson, lot 1716.
Lily, I hate to tell you this, but you are a renter?
I'm an owner. What are you talking about? I'm on the, all right, be real careful. Oh, you guys
You
gotta
are
be
not,
real
Lily?
careful. Okay, you think I'm a renter? Okay. Did you look it up online? Because it's it's very public. You just want me to bring it to you. That's why you're making it in front of everybody this?
No, bring it like everyone else does. We don't look
You
up
go
anyone's
online and you can get it. I own this. You do not just, go ahead, Marie, what are you going to say? I'm an owner, period. I own 615 and I own 1716. Where do you get off saying that I don't own it? Because I didn't give them a piece of paper? I can't hear you. Okay, so I'm an owner and I have to have documentation.
Cut her off.
So you've cut me off. Well, what I'm going to
She's not-
say is
She's not
that-
an owner either, so
So
cut her
cut me
off.
off. And we have an employee that talks to other residents about people. And so you're cutting me off. I am an owner. How about if you're representing an owner? I am an owner. April 9th, I'll be an owner. 55. So you just cut people off because you don't want to hear from them? We have to listen.
We are currently talking about the bylaws and CCNR
Well, maybe we need
changes.
some better
You are
changes
not
here.
listed as an owner. I'm sorry. If you have paper showing otherwise, you can bring it into the office. But as of right now, even that, we are talking about the bylaw changes and the CCNR
But I want to add
changes.
some stuff to the bylaws.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Glenn Brower, lot number 539. First of all, I want to commend the board for what they're doing. Changing the CCNRs is very difficult. I don't know if you remember me, but I did a referendum here 4 or 5 years ago. But the couple of questions that came up, the 20% increase, no way. It's basically, you have other avenues. You have what we call special assessments if it exceeds anything over the 6%. So you can do special assessments all day long, but you do not increase it up to 20%. There's other couple of questions I would like to have. Is this the first reading of the CCNRs? Oh, this is the first reading. Thank you. Second thing, does this have a sunset clause in it?
I'm sorry, what kind of clause?
Sunset clause.
Sunset clause.
Meaning it continues until it's approved. Thank you. Thank you. And I highly commend you on allowing this to be individually voted on, except the referendum that I was involved is one vote for the whole thing. That's highly commended. Thank you.
Yeah, just to answer your question, there will be some that will be grouped together, such as in grammar, renumbering. We're trying to simplify that. That's a quick yes or no. And matter of fact, I don't even know that we have to do that. But then some of the other ones will be lumped together that are smaller. Like if you notice, we changed residence vehicle, we split it out back to manufactured HUD to recreational vehicle. And so some of that is grammar changes within the document as well that had to do with some things that went on with property, like affidavit of a fitcher, and people were getting really confused between a residence vehicle and a recreational vehicle. So we felt it was better to split those two out. So I hope you can see that.
That's very good. That's very interesting because there are other avenues that we can pursue with it. The thing is, what I'm talking about is basically the procedure that you're doing is right. I'm sure you got your legal on your side. You've already been through that. Everything looks perfect, but you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Change is never easy. And looking at this took many hours. And, budget, fiduciary responsibility, all of that went into this. And we're residents too. We don't sit here autonomously.
Marilyn Klein, lot 392. Why wasn't all this legal stuff collected when we just went through it a couple of years ago, and it was so hard to even change those? Why wasn't all this stuff cleaned up then? And number two, what is behind your changing gasoline golf carts? They make noise, they stink, and they have, and the thing that was for the electric was not storing gasoline on your lot. And now you've got motorcycles that are doing that. And They're noisy. I've got enough noise this summer with all the construction trucks and just the traffic of the off-road vehicles, or on-road vehicles or whatever. They're making so much noise, and some of them don't have very good mufflers.
Marilyn, you almost answered your own question. It's because of the off-road, it's because of the motorcycles, it's because of all those other vehicles that we heard so many people said, if you do that, what's the difference with gas golf carts? People aren't storing gasoline on their lots anymore because they can go to a gasoline station with it. So many golf carts are licensed now. They don't have to store gasoline on their lot because they can drive their golf cart to the gasoline station. That was the rule way back when, why they didn't allow gas golf carts, is because they had to store gasoline on their lot. Now they can drive them to the gasoline station because golf carts are modernized now. They're actually quieter than some of the off-road vehicles that are allowed. We got so many requests from people saying, you know what, they're quieter than some of the other vehicles that are here. That's why it was put in there, because we got so many requests, and they're not louder than what's already on the streets.
Well, I'm against all those extra vehicles in the first place because we had some people got 2 cars, 2 golf carts, 2 motorcycles, and we've allowed these people too many toys where they don't use them when they park them on their lot. They should be in storage. It makes a nuisance, and it makes the park look bad.
Let me just say that that's why the CC&R changes will go to a vote of all owners, and that's why they have been divided so that you can vote in, I like this one, I don't like this one. That's why it goes to a vote of the owners. So thank you, but it is an owner vote.
Fred, 1140. The question I have is, you're changing the date. Yes. Yes, it's going to be like APT.
Speak up and bring the mic like this, like an ice cream cone.
Okay. So Fred, 1140. The question I have is, we're changing the date in the CC&R to April. And the question I have is, a lot of people already start leaving in that period of time. Wouldn't it be better that we get everybody while they're here instead of people that are migrating back north?
I can answer that question. We are changing the year-end date. It has changed from May 1 to April 30 to July 1 to June 30. To keep the annual meeting consistent, it's 2 months before the end of the month, which would move it from February to April. It had nothing to do with when people are coming, going, or whatnot. It was to conform to our new fiscal year.
As Becca, I think, just forgot to say, that's also so that our budget has time to work, and our budget is always approved at the annual meeting by the
It was really
current
pushing
board.
to have it done in February.
Right.
April gives the budget committee much more time, and when they are here, and not interfere with the holiday season.
Okay, and this beautiful handout that you gave us today, we just skimmed over so many of the committee reports. One of them in question.
There weren't any committee reports.
I understand. The question I have is the Walgreen Gate. That is still not functioning with the transponder, and it's been several weeks. Is there an update on that? And if it is, it should have been handled.
This is not the place. This is not the place.
All right.
But I can meet with you afterwards and give you a little update on the TransView and the screen that we're waiting on.
My name is Lori Popper, and I'm in lot 212, and I am an owner. Okay. Anyway, I heard you say something about the repairs. that are not to be done at anybody's home. Is that correct?
On the
For
vehicles.
vehicles, correct.
Vehicle repairs.
So I had to have a repair because it was an emergency. Do you abide by any emergencies as far as air conditioning?
Emergencies are different.
Okay,
We're talking like oil changes and repairing on your car and rotating tires, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Emergency is emergency.
okay. Because I know of someone, will he be reported because of him doing repairs? Because I've already texted him not to do repairs. Yeah, I'm not going to turn him in though. I'm just telling him. Okay. Yes. And then, so let's see, there was something else. Yeah, I think that's it right now until I can remember something else.
We have, just a reminder, there's another reading. Sorry about that. And we also have We're Listening. That's where you bring up your questions. That's where you bring up the Walgreenscape. That's where you bring up all the other stuff. Okay, this has been a really long thing, so I will keep the president's announcements very short. Let me just, I was going to make it longer, but this has been a very long meeting. So I'm just going to invite you to go to the Chuck Wagon if you haven't gone and seen the improvements, and let you know that they're still in progress. So I hope you have seen what we have done thus far, and invite you to know that there's much more to come. That what's happening is just the tip of the iceberg, as they say. That it's only the beginning. Tables and chairs are en route. As I've stated many times, things happen so much slower here than I'm used to and that I like. It seems that my idea of hurry up and get it done is not Arizona's idea of hurry up and get it done. I'm not used to that and I don't like it, but they don't seem to care. But we keep holding their feet to the fire and they just blow it out. But they are on order. They keep telling us it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Same thing with the pool furniture. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It will be here and it will be lovely and we will all enjoy it. So please have more patience than I do and know that it is happening and it will be beautiful. So, like I said, I had much more to say, but I know my tush is getting sore, so yours must be too. So, Darlene, did you have any more
Yeah, I
announcements?
just wanted to say welcome back to all of you snowbirds that are back. And I want to let you know our office hours will be changing next week for the season. We'll be open from 7:30 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. And we will be open the first Saturday of every month from 7:30 to 3:30. Okay. The post office? I don't know. That would be
It changed. I think they announced it. It's from the 1st of November.
I see heads nodding. Okay, on that note, let's call the meeting adjourned.